Hi, everybody, and welcome to another exciting holiday edition of the SoCal Prep Report. We're straight here along with Randy Rosenblum and Bob Gibson. Bob has been exiled, as you know our show. Bob's usually in the middle. Bob's on the outside because Bob is sick, and he came to work, and he's trying to infect everybody.
That's because I am devoted. I am devoted to this football season, top to bottom, beginning to end.
And now I'm closer to the germs. I'm really concerned about this. Bob's to my right. This could be a long show for me.
I see all the international travelers wearing, what do they wear, those masks, those hospital masks, you know.
You guys want me to put on one of those surgical masks?
Bob had a surgical mask at dinner, and Bob's touching all the utensils.
You can't do that, come on.
Bob, you're breathing in all that food tonight. Nobody wanted to eat with you tonight.
That's all right. I had all the chicken to myself.
No, Randy.
I did all right there.
Randy did okay.
No, I was okay. Yeah, oh yeah.
He's gonna let a cold stop him. Yeah. Anyways, we're done with the indulgence. It is the holiday season, and we do like talking about food because it is the holidays, and there seems to be a lot out there. And a lot of teams feasted this week in the state playoffs, my friend. The state's playoffs are now over across the country. And let's look in on what happened here in Southern California, starting with the Open Division Championship, De La Salle against St. John Bosco.
Oh, we got ourselves a national champion again, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
This was an interesting game because I think a lot of people were saying, there were some local scribes who thought De La Salle was coming down to make a statement, but it never really happened again. De La Salle clearly is not the program they once were back in the 90s. All the talent now has migrated to Southern California, Monte, Bosco, blah, blah, blah. We can talk about it. There's some other great teams this year, but De La Salle was never really in this game, as you guys know, and Bosco pretty much just won this thing out.
If you were to rewind last week's show, all of us made a projection on this game, and our scores were just about how it turned out. This game went exactly as advertised. The score almost to a T you could have predicted, and we did. DJ finished up his career as a great quarterback, threw some touchdowns, they scored at will. No question who was going to win it. They're the best team in the country.
Well, actually, they're tied as the best team in the country, and but they're pretty good.
That still makes them the best team in the country.
Yeah, no, we'll get to it, man. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but St. John Bosco won the state this year in California.
Look, I want to talk about Logan Loya, who's going to UCLA, and really, just really showed out in this game here. Caught the first touchdown pass, and going in for a touchdown. And I think that the talent, top to bottom, St. John Bosco showed. Yeah, they had the top quarterback. You could debate whether he or Bryce Young were the top quarterback down here. They're both going to great universities. But the talent around the rest of that St. John Bosco squad, you could never deny that all season long. And we saw it was a complete team effort that beat Mater Dei, and they didn't need much more than that to beat De La Salle to win this state and national championship.
Yeah, they had about 15 D1 guys, most of them going to the Pac-12. Great talent, great depth of talent, and a terrific finish, and they really came on strong after the Mater Dei loss earlier in the year.
And it was good to see Cerritos College filled up, man. That stadium holds 12,500 people, and you saw people standing along the rails for the state ball game, something you haven't seen in a while. I know we had scenes from the first quarter. Hey, these games don't fill up till after midway through the second, but that place was packed, rocking and rolling.
It was fun. It was a good atmosphere.
And even the power went out on the production vehicle and the telecast,
right.
huh?
The TV people lost their signal and a little egg on their face, I guess, but that's all right,
And it delayed the game for about 5 minutes at halftime. They expanded the game.
I've never heard of a game being delayed because of TV. Usually, hey, forget it, we're playing.
No,
they decided to go ahead and stop it. I never heard of that.
No, the NFL many years ago, I think one of the first games ever telecast, they weren't back from a commercial. They kicked off, and they made them kick off again. But that was very early on, probably in the 60s. Since the 60s, it hasn't happened, but it happened at Cerritos, and it was a 5-minute delay.
I mean, we all remember the Heidi game, but come on.
Yeah,
well, they went off the air, and then the game finished.
Man, that restarting the game sounds like that old AFL game, man. They won't do that today. No way. All right, let's continue on now. Take a look at the, I believe we're going to go Division II now and have a look. It's the 1AA. I'm sorry, we are doing state, not CIF. Here we go again. Sierra Canyon, man, trying to continue on their great season. They won CIF. Man, they really got a lot of respect. They get to the state ball game, and they lose a close one, guys. Fresno was favored in this one, but Sierra Canyon showed up.
Yeah, the favorite one here. But you're right, Sierra Canyon, obviously this is a program that's going to be a D1 program next year, and they're completely on the rise. But never discount these teams from the Fresno area. Really seem to come down. They do better than the teams even north of them now, right? All these Northern California teams up there, We don't really see that much. We always see a couple teams
Bob,
from Fresno come down and play really well.
I think the central section was overlooked because they had very little
I
representation.
agree.
The southern section is where all the schools are. It's the biggest section in the nation, where high schools go. Don't forget the states in Northern California.
Right.
It's been up in the Bay Area for a long time. But when they moved out of Southern California, they were actually in La Mirada, and then they moved their home base up to the Bay Area.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, they create the state game, and all we're seeing is NoCal. And then Central Section said, "Hey, man, we play good ball too." And there's a good representation of that 34-19 over Chicago.
And a shout out here for John Ellinghouse at Sierra Canyon. He's still a young, very talented coach. That's 3 times he's gotten that school to a state final. He's won 1 state championship. He's going to get there many more times. And again, with the talent that filters through the Trailblazer program, expect Sierra Canyon to get back in the near future.
And that's the point. They're going to get a lot more talent at that school. Absolutely.
Continuing on, let's take a look now at the 1A.
Da-da-da-da.
Sarah San Diego against Corona Del Mar, man. I think Sarah was favored in this ball game, believe it or not, but Corona Del Mar can't be stopped, Bob.
Well, what did I tell you? Corona Del Mar, from day one, I told you this was the best public school in the state, and they were going to run an undefeated season and win a state championship. That's exactly what they did. This is a school that had a chip on its shoulder coming in and loaded with talent top to bottom. This was a no-brainer to see this team going on and winning like this. But now we got a little bit of some stumbling along the way. The regular season went really well. It was the postseason where they had chances to trip up, but they didn't. I think that really shows the quote-unquote heart of a champion. I know it's it's kind of an overused cliche, but really I think that's what Corona Del Mar showed in these in this postseason, winning the CIF title, overcoming some adversity finally, and overcoming a little bit here as well against a very game team who had their chances here.
It is never easy to go 16-0 at any level. You look at the NFL teams, look at the Rams, how one week they look so great and the next week they're down. Well, here's Corona doing their thing for 16 straight weeks. They never were off their game. They struggled by their standards in the playoffs. They had some close games, but they won every game. And to go 16-0 in this day and age, I remember the days when they didn't want high school teams playing more than 10 or 11 games. They go 16-0. That's a great tribute to the entire program.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Well, I was going to just say that, Randy, they did all that. They don't see him going 6-0, but I didn't see him playing the Chicago Bears or, you're comparing them to the Rams now. I don't think they would win many games.
I think
the Ram competition.
I think the competition would be a little stiffer in the National Football League for Corona Del Mar, but they did have a fabulous year. And you want to talk about Garbers, who's on his way to the Pac-12.
Ethan Garbers, and I just give him all the credit. He put that team on his shoulders to finish off the season and in the postseason run. That shows you what a senior quarterback with that kind of talent can do for a football program. And certainly, you're right, on his way to be a Husky up in
Washington
next year.
All right, on to the next one. Let's take Aquinas, man. Here they are again. They lost to Clayton Valley Charter 10-7. Good defensive battle. And I believe that's Clayton Valley's first state title ball.
I believe you are correct.
Yes.
So the run for Aquinas comes to an end, but that's tough to lose by 3 points, to you only get the 1 touchdown and a low-scoring battle. Obviously, defense ruled the day there.
Clayton Valley Charter, and I mentioned it last week, they always run the football. They never punt.
No,
they never punt the football. They get the state championship. They've come close before.
They don't have a punter.
They don't even. Yeah, they don't.
They don't have a punter.
They don't punt.
Come on.
But they won the game 10-7. They've been at the doorstep before, and they finally break through and get the state title.
So they just go for it on their
Every
own
time.
end?
Doesn't matter.
Wow.
It's the old Myron Miller way.
Yeah.
Myron Miller ran the wing tee to a tee, my brother.
Well, they have so much
I watched
confidence
it
in
for
their run game.
many years.
No punt.
Their run game, they have so much confidence they feel they're going to pick up a first down when they have 4
Right.
tries.
All right.
Why punt when you know you can run for 17, 18 yards on every carry?
Hey, look, man, it's trickled all the way down. Look at Bosco. They went for it on 4th and 1
Yeah.
against Modern Day at their own 29. Really? Whoa.
Yes, they did.
But hey, it's trickling down
worked
there.
out.
Yeah, it works out for everybody apparently. All right, Pacifica of Oxnard defeats McClymonds 34-6. Come on, guys. Really? You didn't see this coming? McClymonds has been killing everybody.
I saw Pacifica against Birmingham, and that's all I needed to see. They blew the Patriots out.
They did.
And when they came down 40-plus miles to go to Lake Balboa and knock off the city champions, that told me Pacifica from Oxnard had a great football team. You can see it's a high-octane offense, and they took
Absolutely.
it. They really took it to McClymonds.
Who was favored? That's what I'm saying. Really?
Who made them the favorite?
Hey, listen. It's hard to judge the state games because you have no common opponents in which to judge. You can
Right.
do that in the southern section, really easy city section, but you can't do it in the state. But they're usually on more than they are off with the odds makers on these games. and only we know where those odds are, my friend. I'm not telling anybody. It's an underground situation. All right, Cardinal Newman did as expected. Division III AA defeated Oceanside, El Camino, 31-14. Really no surprise. El Camino has a lot of history in the San Diego area. They're one of the really brilliant schools down there. Play great football, but Cardinal Newman, too much for them. All right, continuing on. Next. And we'll take a look at the next Division IIIA, Bakersfield Christian over Rancho Cotate. Randy, I know Rancho is your favorite team of all time.
Cotate.
No, I like Bakersfield Christian. We talked about Carr performing there. Derek Carr, and that's his alma mater, and they get a state championship. Bakersfield is really a great source of terrific athletes. In that area, in that Bakersfield area, you're going to get great athletes. This did not surprise me at all. Bakersfield Christian has a very strong program.
Carr went there, and Cal State Bakersfield couldn't keep him?
No. I mean, they recruited him, but he ended up going to Fresno State.
Fresno State.
Right?
Oh, man, talk about a punch in the gut.
Yeah, that really hurt Cal State
Look
Bakersfield.
at this nail
All
biter.
right, Division IV AA, Highland Palmdale lost to Ripon 31-28. Good ball game.
Has anyone checked on Carlos? Is he all right?
I haven't checked on. Nobody's seen Carlos since he was at CIF State Section party, man.
And now he's really hiding after
He
Highland
shot
got
at a
beat.
state title right here.
Yeah.
And,
Carlos
Yeah.
Pena is
just
what
a
we're
little
talking
short.
about.
Him and that
Carlos Pena.
soccer, man, gets him every time. All right, he took his eye off the ball for a second. His team lost. La Jolla, Escalon. Well, that wasn't even close, guys. 4A. Wow.
I'm not 52 in a state championship game. That's pretty good. That's a statement right there.
It happens, man.
That is a statement.
Yeah, the San Diego
does
school's
happen.
struggling a little bit here too,
Yeah.
Rich.
Apparently this year, man, normally they don't have that issue, but this year, obviously, they did. Continuing on, taking a look at a few more state games. Look at this one.
Yeah, this is my favorite.
32-7 El Monte over at Del Norte. I talked with Coach Siniceros today from El Monte, and I was telling him, it was kind of, in a way, it was kind of an empty, hollow victory because they won the CIF Southern Section crown.
Right.
They were looking forward to playing once again in the finals with Adelanto, but those guys got in a brawl. Both those schools got kicked out, so El Monte won the CIF title. But they went in the state, took care of business. They are state champion. 32-7 now Del Norte. Just kind of like, it's definitely a way to go out instead of being handed a CIF title.
I'm glad they got to finish their business on the field,
Yes.
they got to celebrate a championship on the field, a state title. First
Last
one ever
game,
for
Bob.
El Monte. The whole community was behind them. They had a huge party at a restaurant where they had a viewing party. Everybody was following that 700-mile bus trip up north. Coach at the last minute was trying to find cleats for the kids because there was going to be a rain, a mud bowl, and that's what it ended up being.
And somebody donated the cleats.
Look, they were playing a team who doesn't give up any rushing yards, and on the first play of the game, what do? They run for a big run, and that set the tone for El Monte, and they never looked back from there. Congratulations to the Lions. I'm really glad. To me, the story of the year in football this year. Of everything that happened this year, to me, El Monte and what they did this year, that is the story of the year.
What do you think, Randy? Randy still thinks it's Narbonne getting kicked out of the.
No, I think it could be Milpitas because Milpitas started 1-6 and ends up winning a state championship by running the table.
We're looking
after
at
that.
it now, Randy. We're looking at the 5A division. There's
Going
Milpitas,
against
34-0 over
Reseda.
Reseda, man.
This really hurts. I mean,
Man,
they
Randy.
couldn't protect Butler. He got sacked, and he was running for his life the whole game. Milpitas had an outstanding running game. They had a running back over 200 yards and rushed for 4 touchdowns. The Regents were so strong throughout the year. They really never had a game like this where they were blown out. But Alonzo Areola had a phenomenal year. The Regents are to be commended. They won a City Division I championship. They won a regional game. But Milpitas, that is a great story. I know you love the other story, but that story is phenomenal. 1-6 and then become a state champion.
Wow,
Okay,
that's
I like
amazing.
that one. But what Devon Booth and El Monte did, I can't overlook that at all.
pretty big too.
That's big.
All right, in the 6AA division, we saw St. Bernard's, and this isn't the Playa del Rey St. Bernard's.
Okay,
Going up against South Torrance, and 34-20. Really? Was that the final in this ball game, guys? All right, that's it. I got to go with it, man. All right, continuing on. Gardena, Randy.
Oh, ouch.
Lincoln.
Lincoln San Francisco got in 35-26
So
over
City Section
Gardena.
went.
Well, we went 0-2, but Gardena got a split with Lincoln because they earlier in the year beat Lincoln of Los Angeles. And really, Gardena has had a great season outside the Marine League where they lost all 4 of their games on the field. They did win a forfeit game over Narbonne because of their problems, but Gardena never won a game in the Marine League, but outside the Marine League, this is the first time they got beat. They had a tremendous year, get a city championship at the D3 level, knocked off Marquez on the way to the crown. really a fabulous year for Gardena, and it's really, when you look ahead to next year, their program now probably will finally be competitive again in the Marine League. And you have to go back to the 60s and the 70s to say that. Gardena's coming along, and that's great to see. And congratulations to Coach McElroy over there for having a fabulous year.
You know, the city section often does get multiple schools in the state, and it was good to see them this year. Although they were 0 for 2, still it's good to see them representing, especially since their big gun wasn't there.
Right.
Well, without Narbonne, I mean, Narbonne would have been favored. You know, they would have been in like a 1AA game or something like that, and they've had great success once they've gotten to the state level. They had the athletes to compete with anyone, but when you don't play by the rules and you're not allowed to perform, obviously you're not going to have an opportunity to win the state title, and it costs the city section. But it costs Narbonne even more because Narbonne is not eligible for now, even for next year. Although that could be appealed, Narbonne may be eligible next season. We don't know yet.
I don't think they're going to be eligible next season.
I think it's 50-50 right now. It depends if they clear out their coaching staff.
It's more like 80-20,
But they've already cleared out that coaching
85-15.
staff.
Not all of it. Not all of it yet.
Okay.
Not all of it
All
yet.
right, well, we'll see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen. We're just speculating out here, and that's what Bob Gibson does best, especially when he's sick.
Yeah. That's, you notice I'm sliding over toward Rich.
Yeah, it's I know. Look at Bob over there again. He's hacking away.
Oh, it's
I'll
bad.
make it.
Oh,
I'm
my.
pumped, man. I'm so pumped.
All right, let's get on to the. Is that it? Is that the last grid?
That's it. That's it for
Wow.
football.
All right,
Put
let's get-
football to bed.
Wait a minute. We got to talk about the new football coach at Dorsey.
All right, let's talk about it.
Dorsey's got a new football coach, Stefan Johnson, great player there, running back, had 1,000-yard plus rushes a couple times, went on to SC, had a cup of coffee in the National Football League, got into coaching, coached running backs at El Camino College. Great guy. This is the right guy for the job. He's going back to his alma mater.
From the neighborhood.
He's a neighborhood guy.
Stud.
Well liked by
Yep.
the community. Stefan's a terrific hire for Dorsey. I think
is-
now you're going to see the program turn around.
This is how tough Stefan Johnson is. This is why he's the right guy for the job. When he was at USC, he was working out. This dude's working. He's bench pressing 400 pounds, and it slips, hits him in the throat, and the guy doesn't die. All right? Not only does not die, he has a career, makes it to the NFL.
Actually made it to the NFL, yeah.
I mean, if that's something right there,
Yeah,
Bob.
I mean, it's a heck of a story.
That's a lot of weight on your throat.
Well, yeah, and right.
The spotter missed the grab and just boom. I mean, that kills anybody.
A lot of times that kind of an injury, somebody dies from it, right? And he
Wow.
didn't, and he was being such a world-class athlete, I think really helped him. Of course, as we said, he recovered, went on to an NFL career.
Yep.
Now, I think you're exactly right. Now the Dons are in really good hands as far as, I think, getting kids to come back and build that program again.
Again, he's liked. People like him.
Right.
He walks around with a smile on his face. His mom will come up and thank you for being at the games. They always would come back. The parents would come back to the games. Stefan is in the community. His family's in the community. He's the right guy for Dorsey. One last ad on coaching in the city. Scott Fair stepped down at Cleveland Reseda. He was there for 1 year, turned that program around. He's rumored to go to North Hollywood. Now, my Huskies, where I
wait
went
a
to
minute.
school, they haven't been good since before me. So you're going back, like when dinosaurs ruled the earth.
Wow.
But Scott Fair can win football games. He runs that wing T stuff. He won at Poly High School. He won already this year at Cleveland Reseda. If he goes to North Hollywood, which is just a rumor right now, the Huskies could be in the thick of the East Valley League next year.
All right, we'll see. That's a bold statement, Randy.
Just a thought. It would be a first for the
You
Huskies.
haven't had football in North Hollywood
Oh.
since the beginning. I think Moses was fullback, right?
Yeah, he was a good one, though.
He was good.
He
but
could
that
part the middle, right in the middle of the line, right there. Sorry about that.
That was the last time they were good, though.
His family tree was really good.
It
Moses was really
they
good.
said- I was sick.
It was divine intervention, folks. All right. All right, now we're going to take a look at the top 10. This is the final top 10 here as we see it. Okay, let's go to the city section first,
right, well,
Randy.
we'll
Go
just
ahead.
clean
Let's
up
do
the
the
city.
city section action.
Well, Birmingham won the Open Division, so you have to give Jim Rose a nod here. Mason White was the West Valley League Player of the Year. Versatile player, played a lot of different positions. Great senior, but a lot of underclassmen, so Birmingham will be strong again. San Pedro went into the tournament as the number 1 seed and got knocked off by Birmingham, who was the number 4 seed in the Open Division. The Pirates had a great year. Banning got to the city final, so I put them at number 3. San Fernando was up near 1 or 2 most of the year, but they lost earlier in the tournament. They lost in the quarterfinals to a good Crenshaw team, so I dropped them to 4. Garfield had a good, solid football team. Didn't get it done in the playoffs, but Lorenzo Hernandez had another strong team, so I have him at 5. Crenshaw, off that great win against San Fernando, 26-23 in the playoffs, I moved them to 6. Pally was tremendous in the Western League this year, and I had them 7. Those top 7 were all open division teams. Then I had Reseda at number 8 because they won D1. Venice was great in that D1 tournament. They lost a 42-41 game to Reseda, or perhaps they would be elevated a little bit higher. And Canoga Park won a lower division championship, so I have them at number 10. The one team from the open division that I just yanked out of there was Carson, because their overall record was not that great. They got to the open tournament because of their reputation, but I didn't put them in my top 10. I think this is a very representative top 10.
It looks pretty good, Randy, from top to bottom. Appropriate records there, but city section has a little ways to go still. And of course, they had the transition,
Sure.
and then in your first year, you got to deal with a situation like Narbonne,
Right.
and it took a lot of time, but very good there. Good representation. I like Birmingham getting the top spot this year.
Yeah, another shout out, the last one for Luca Diamant, who was fabulous at Venice High School and got him in my top 10. He went out in that 42-41 game, but that performance that night at Reseda was fabulous. Luca Diamant is going to play college football at Duke. Great quarterback. Kind of reminds me of Kaepernick. He plays like that. Can run. He's got the long strides. He had a phenomenal career at Venice.
I don't remember Kaepernick that much. He's only played a couple years, you know. I don't really
Well, I
remember.
remember Kaepernick because I saw him play at Nevada. And I was doing a football game on TV, and he was the second-string quarterback at Nevada. The first stringer goes out. They're losing 42-7, and he nearly pulled the game out. And we didn't even know who he was. Who's this guy, Colin Kaepernick, that came into the game, and he nearly pulled the game out? So I saw him firsthand at Nevada.
All right. Well, at least he wasn't kneeling back then, right?
No, he wasn't doing that.
Just on, you know.
I didn't mean to turn the
formation.
show toward that.
Let's
either.
hope Luca's career
Come
ends
on.
up a little better than Colin's career.
Yes, yeah.
You know, Randy, people floating in and out of this show. Last week it was OJ. This week it's Colin Kaepernick we're talking about, and that's no
Who
joke.
knows where we'll be after the first of the year.
That's right. All right, take a look at the final SoCal Prep Report Top 10 here in Southern California.
Whoa, look at that top
St. John
spot.
Bosco and Modern Day were tied for first
Wait a
place.
minute.
Each of them beat each other. Modern Day beat them more handily in the first time around. Bosco beat them the second time, not quite as handily as Modern Day beat them in the first time, so it's kind of hard to separate them, but they both tie for the top spot
I like that, actually.
here
I
in
like
the
that.
Southern California, followed by Centennial Corona, who was beaten or eliminated by Bosco. And then, of course, Mission Viejo was eliminated by Modern Day in the playoffs. The only way to separate them is Centennial and Mission Viejo both played Modern Day. And
How
they
can
both
Corona
lost by
Del
the
Mar
same.
be at
See, that's
7?
my-
guys?
Time out
The
now.
only
They gotta be
Time
higher
out,
than that.
Randy.
Only
Randy,
undefeated
you're
on the
jumping
board.
way ahead of yourself, my friend.
I had an opening, that's why I jumped
Sierra
in.
Canyon in the 5th spot, followed by Servite. Servite was the only team this year, other than Modern Day, to give Bosco a game. They lost that Trinity League game by 1 point,
Yeah, they did.
27-26, or was it 28-27? Does it even matter? It was a 1-point game, all right? Somebody missed an extra point. Might have been an overtime situation. Corona Del Mar in the 7th position. They've won 16 straight. They won every game handily except one, and that was the state game. And also Corona Del Mar actually finished in the country as high as number 16. I've seen 20 different polls.
Yep.
Corona Del Mar's in that 12 to 20 bracket.
Imagine that, being a top 20 team in the nation
Yeah,
this
yeah.
year.
And
Little old Corona Del
7th
Mar.
in your poll. I don't know, Rich. I got to move. I'd have him number 3, personally.
Listen, Bosco Modern Day finished 1-2 in the country, and actually they finished tied in the country. Centennial's in the top 20. Mission Viejo's in the top 20. Sierra Canyon finished in the top 20. And Corona Del Mar finished in the top 20
Did
in
you see
Southern
the,
California.
did you see
In the nation,
Did you
not
see the
just
tweet
this-
from Mission Viejo football?
Yeah, I did.
Even Mission Viejo football said, congratulations to the best public school program in the state this year. So even the Diablos had to say and tip their hat to
Yes.
the Sea Kings this year.
All right, real quick, running it out, Jay Serra, Bishop Amont, and Calabasas. The only reason Jay Serra's above Bishop Amont is because Jay Serra beat Bishop Amont head to head.
Yeah, but
No, Bob. You go ahead. Go ahead.
what a disappointing season. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Jay Serra had a disappointing season. For what they had on the field, what they were expected to do, to finish 6-5 was not good enough. I'm just not sorry.
All right.
That's not a good enough finish for a team with that kind of talent. And maybe a little soul searching over there on the Jay Serra campus. This
You got a
offseason.
point.
I'm sure there will be.
You got a point.
I'm not. That's a program that's still
All
on the
right.
rise, and they're coming back.
I
but
still think they would have beat.
I don't think they should
I
be
think
that
head
high
to head they
anymore.
would have beaten Narbonne, though.
They wouldn't have, and I'm excited, Rich, about your No Love Club.
All
We got
right,
city
let's-
schools in there.
Yes, we do. El Monte finished the top of No Club. They are state
take
champion.
that. I'll
Grace
take
Brethren
that.
had some great playoff games this year. One of their losses was the Sierra Canyon, the eventual CIF
Yes.
champion and state runner-up. Paramount had a great year. They were in overtime. They lost in overtime in their semifinal matchup. Cypress lost in the finals. Sunny Hills is a CIF champion this year. Randy, Reseda, you talked about them. Although they got blown out in state, they did win a city section championship. Highly made a good representation this year in the CIF finals and in the state. Pacifica Ave Oxnard just rolled through everybody. Their one loss was to the New England Patriots, so you really can't fault them for that. And then you got Birmingham from the LA City section. You heard Randy and Bob go on about Birmingham. They were #1 in the city section. And of course, South Torrance finished 11. They played 16 games, huh? Wow. So they finished out in the number 10 position. Now let's go to the national. Let's go to the national picture and have a look at that. And we see it looks just like like our top 10 here, the SoCal Prep Report. You have Mater Dei and Bosco tied for the #1 position. Again, they beat each other.
How many years in a row is this a national champion out of Southern California?
I think it's 3, isn't it?
I think it is 3, but I think there's been a few more too.
Bosco got one, and I think
Centennial got in there, and Rancho Santa Margarita got one as well.
It's at least 7 of the last 10, I would guess.
So then you got St. Louis of Hawaii, just dominated everybody. You know, they played some good schools this year. They had people go to the islands to play. St. Francis Academy, their early loss was to Mater Dei.
Right.
Mater Dei beat them 34-18. I mean, they're in the 4th position. St. Thomas Aquinas was undefeated. Duncanville never left the state of Texas, so I don't know how they get this high, but they're there. De La Salle, the only teams they lost to was St. Thomas Aquinas, very close ball game, and they lost to Bosco in the state game, so they finished in the top 10. They played people. Corner Canyon, Utah is the state champion in Utah. They went 14-0. Marietta, Georgia won the state. They ended up 13-2, but they beat Downs of Georgia, who was ranked like 1 ahead of them, and it was a great ball game. North Shore of Texas was the fake champion last year in some polls, mainly the ones in the Midwest. They never leave the state of Texas, guys. When you don't leave your state and you can't play outside and play good schools, you cannot be judged. It's hard to judge. And IMG Academy is not in here because they don't deserve to be in there. They don't deserve to be in there.
Well, it's not really.
It's not a real high school,
it's not a learning institution,
it's
really.
A football school. You should go there to play football, tennis, basketball, baseball. What's up, Brandon?
I'd really like to see St. Louis play Mater Dei or St. John Bosco because that's a really good St. Louis team.
They have played in the past.
And they have good football teams on the island there in Honolulu. So I would like to see St. Louis. We're not going to see it this year, but that would be an interesting game with either one of them being against St. John Bosco or Mater Dei.
Now, there's some kind of national game they're going to be playing this year. I guess Chandler said they don't want to be involved in it.
Really?
Most of the schools are saying we're done. 16 games,
It's
man.
too much.
You know, what are you, pros?
This is the end of it, yeah. No,
Yeah, it's crazy.
the end of it
17-game
right there.
season? Nah, I'm not
Plus,
with it.
what you're losing now is you're starting to lose the 3-sport athlete. The kids who want to go play basketball
Have to sit out.
It's almost tough now for them to get in and be a basketball player now, or maybe they want to wrestle or do something else, and it's tough.
Did you say basketball? You know, Fairfax and Westchester had their first meeting. Fairfax won at Westchester by 11 points. Keith Dinwiddie lit it up. Fairfax is the defending champion of basketball. We'll talk a lot more about the Lions after the first of the year. They have a very good basketball team. They're going to be one of the favorites again in the city, but a big win early on in December to play on December 13th to get the victory. That's great for the program at Fairfax over
I can't wait. It's
Westchester.
basketball season.
Yep.
I think there's going to be some great
Well,
teams
we
to
come
watch
back
this year.
up. You know, we're going to have the Christmas break. We come back up. We're going to be talking a lot about basketball. Be checking it out. It's going to be exciting this year, especially with Sierra Canyon. Listen, they're everybody's favorite this year. And they're right here, so you might be able to get out and see them. Might be able to catch a few NBA superstars. They're all out here. I mean, they're all their kids. They all live in
number one
Southern
player
California.
in the country is from Rancho Christian right here as well. So you know.
Evan Mobley, 7-footer.
Yeah, that guy's a monster, man. I'm telling you.
Right?
All right, well, listen, I'd like to wish everybody happy holidays. Christmas is here. I mean, you know, I'm
Hanukkah?
sure.
Hanukkah, right.
For Randy.
Right
and
here.
You like the lights I got on?
yeah, I do.
very nice. Good
Randy's,
touch,
Randy's all lit, if you know what I mean.
He brought lights,
came
I
in
brought a
lit
cough.
this year.
There you go.
All right, on behalf of everybody, Bob, Randy, I'm Rick saying so long from your friends here and happy holidays from your friends here at the SoCal Prep Report.